Yeah, this is part two, like I promised, man. Glory to God. So the telepathic network is what's going to be the major problem that you got to deal with. See, when you go online, you will see Christians talk about the witches, the warlocks, the monitoring spirits. And what I think is the monitoring spirits for them is really the telepaths, the mind readers. This is the network that they set up. A whole bunch of mind readers in America, specifically. They got a whole bunch of mind readers, and they are spies for the Americans. This is why I had to do part two, because I had to break down who are they spying for, the logistics of who they are spying for. They're spying for various different communities according to who you are born into, what tribe you're born into, what culture you're born into. They're going to spy more so for them against you. And if you're higher ranking, where you're a threat against the whole country, then they're going to spy for the Americans. So let me break it down. Let me just use myself as an example. So for me, they got a telepathic network, a bunch of non-mind readers all around the whole neighborhood where I stay. They've been doing this same pattern. I count for about 5 years. They put me in a neighborhood, or telepaths come to a neighborhood, and they surround me, and they surround the infrastructure of the neighborhood. They infiltrate the infrastructure, and they have telepaths at the grocery store, in any neighborhood I'm in, whatever neighborhood for example, if I left this neighborhood and went to another neighborhood, these telepathic network people are going to go to the other neighborhood and infiltrate the grocery stores, the cell phone store, everywhere you run your errands, check cash in place. They're gonna have telepaths and people that work divination all in those places. This is why, if you've been gang stalked in guerrilla warfare, you wonder, how did they know I was going to do this when I went to the grocery store? If you went to the grocery store, this is what I want you to pay attention to. Think about the items that you was about to get. Okay? You thought about it before you got there. Let's just say you just wanted to run a quick errand during the holidays or something, and you wanted to get like maybe some cereal to eat early in the morning before you ate your holiday meals. You wanted some cereal, whatever. Okay, now let's say you being gang stalked. You're under guerrilla warfare, which means the whole community is against you. Guerrilla warfare in the context of the gang stalkers is basically the whole infrastructure is utilized against you, which means the whole community is utilized. All the people. I know it. See, this is what makes it difficult for people, because it's unbelievable until you live in it long enough and you see the same patterns long enough. It's undeniable. It goes from unbelievable to undeniable. It goes from unbelievable to undeniable. You can't deny it. You're being watched by your whole infrastructure. You're being attacked psychologically from the grocery store to the cell phone place to all these other places. If you live in it long enough, it's undeniable. See, in the beginning, you in denial. You're like, your hunch is telling you, your intuition is telling you, that's kind of strange, right? I go to the grocery store, and when I went to the grocery store, back to the grocery store, the very aisle I was gonna go into, let's just say you know the aisle, you kind of familiar with the grocery store, you kind of know where it's at, right? You know how you kind of know the store, but you really don't try to know it, but you know it. So you kind of walk around and you kind of know where it's at, and you kind of look and you see, okay, there it is, right? And these people are standing in the very aisle that you was going to. They ain't in no other aisles. It could be a customer, it could be a worker at the store. And it's a strange energy and a strange aura and disposition that they're in. And your intuition is going to tell you that person is a telepath. That person is connected to these telepaths. And they were told that I was going to come to that aisle. So they set up a psychological attack in the aisle that I was going to go to. They knew because I'm a high-ranking target. So before I even left my house or my apartment, they knew I was going to the cereal aisle. They already knew that. So they communicated with other telepaths to be in position against you at the cereal aisle and play whatever game they want to play, which could be bringing children in there, old people in there. It could be it's going to be something crazy in there if you're being gang stalked in guerrilla warfare. And this is how they work. So I started to notice like that my prophetic intuition was telling me these people are reading your mind before you go to the store. They already know what aisle you're gonna go to. They already know what you're gonna do. And what they do when they have that information is gang stalk you with that information in mind. So if they know you're gonna go to the cereal aisle, they're gonna put a little girl down there. They're gonna put an old woman to try to tempt you, to try to accuse you to the telepathic community. Once they successfully accuse you to the telepathic community, they will go tell physical people that's outside of telepathy that you're a pedophile. See, the culture have been taking heed to these people. That's what nobody want to admit. The culture, that means all these famous people. That means, for me, like I use myself for example, because I know I'm known by rappers. Literally, I'm known by rappers. I'm known by the culture because of all the controversy that surrounded my name. And then I started to win wars, and I began to be known. You know, now I'm known as the prophet. They broke it down and the only reason they call me the prophet is because I started saying it first. But they started seeing that I was manifesting spiritual manifestations, and that's when they really definitely started calling me the prophet. So I'm known by the rappers, the culture, all these people. But they're just sitting back. And while they're sitting back, they're listening to the telepaths. The mind readers are coming to them with information. So while I'm at home or while I'm on the streets, while I was in my apartment, they would go and relay, the telepaths, the mind readers, will go relay information to the culture. Me being black, I'm going to use my situation for you to understand how they move. So, because I'm known by the black culture, the rappers, the famous people, remind you, I was living in New York City. That made it worse as far as me being known by higher ups and famous people and things like that. So in New York City, when I had an apartment, the telepaths would surround the apartment through occupying rooms in the same building I was in, and walking by and positioning themselves. Maybe the merchants across the store, in the store across the street, is all telepaths reading, putting out their radar to read your mind. Now, when they get anything credible, they're going to go to, in my case, they're going to go to the rappers, the culture, they're going to go to the black community and tell them, well, this is what we seen on his mind. This is what, see what I'm saying? Now, mind you, you already know how malicious these people are. You already know how retarded they are. So, any little information, they're going to go run to the culture. Anything that comes across your mind that's questionable, if you're high ranking, they're going to go run to your tribe of people. They're going to go run to America. They're going to go run to people that they feel you're accountable to, or that is over you. And they're going to tell them, well, this is what we seen on his mind. America has been taking heed to these people. That's what you need to know. America has been taking heed to these people. Okay? They've been taking heed to these people. They've been taking heed to whatever they say is on your mind. That's how far this goes with these telepaths. They have been giving Americans information on your mind. And that classifies them, militarily speaking, as spies. That's a spy. Because the essence of these telepathic networks around us is not to pat us on the back with success. They're waiting for a contradiction. They're in position as mind readers around you, waiting for a contradiction. That's what they're doing. They're waiting for a contradiction. That's all they're waiting for. They ain't waiting for you to succeed. They're not waiting for you to win. They're waiting to find a contradiction. Something across your mind that they and I'm talking about, that's the slightest thought. If you've been through this long enough, you already know. And maybe you didn't share it with others because you thought they might think you crazy. See, that's another thing that in American culture that keeps people from talking about the mind readers, is that people gonna diagnose you as schizophrenic paranoid, because one of the characteristics of being schizophrenic paranoid is hearing voices. But here's the thing: the voices that we hear is too descriptive. It makes too much sense to be your own thoughts, because it's outside of your mind. It's outside of your environment. So how could you have schizophrenic paranoid when it's so descriptive outside of your environment, if that makes sense? That's how I figured it out. It's too descriptive outside of your environment. Now, if you're schizophrenic paranoid, you're going to have thoughts that's kind of internalized into your situation. You're going to hear voices that make sense to your situation. You're going to hear voices that's talking that's probably not even going to make sense half the times to no environment. It's not going to make sense to no environment. You know what I'm saying? I would imagine that people that are schizophrenic paranoid, a lot of the voices they hear, the stuff don't make no sense that they saying. It ain't like you hearing great, credible information, right? And it's not making sense according to the environment, right? This is making sense according to the environment because of the gang stalking. So with the gang stalking environment and infrastructure in our community, when you hear these people talking in terms of that environment outside of us, how is that schizophrenic paranoid? See, that's why when you're spiritual, you can't go to doctors. You can't go to people that like to be technical like that. Well, you probably got this going on. You ain't really, they ain't got nothing to do with no spirituality. It does have something to do with spirituality. Spirituality and doctors don't mix. So it's no need to try to tell, because your doctor is going to think You're talking in terms of spirituality, but you sound like you're schizophrenic paranoid. You see what I'm saying? That's how they gonna still talk. As soon as you start talking about hearing voices and hearing the telepaths, I'm telling you this for a certain reason, because if you go and talk in terms of what I'm talking about, right? About these mind readers and everything like that. If you try to go to doctors, if you just decide to just broaden your horizon, and as far as who you bring the information to about these telepaths, if you mess around and go to a doctor, that person gonna make you think you schizophrenic paranoid, specifically, because that's one of the diagnoses. That's one of the characteristics of being schizophrenic paranoid, is hearing voices. And see, a lot of Christians don't want to admit it. You hear voices. You're hearing the voices that I'm talking about, and you ain't got nobody to talk to you about it. You ain't got nobody to talk to you about it. The first thing you got to learn is the world is spiritual. The whole world. The world and we are spiritual. And that's going to take a load off your back, because you're going to realize all of this stuff is spiritual. So I ain't tripping. This is the world I live in. So I'm adapting to it, because now I realize it's reality. This whole world is spiritual. So now I'm not bugging out about my experience. Now I ain't tripping about my experience, because I realize the whole world is spiritual. See, that's a part of growing up. And it's a part that a lot of people don't grow into, is learning the world is spiritual. The whole world is spiritual. When you grow up into that and mature into that, now you don't bug out, wig out, because you see it's everywhere. It's with all these people. Now you begin to learn how people move with their spirituality. And with the crazy world we live in, you can imagine that spirituality is going to be used in a twisted way. This is how spirituality is used in a twisted way, where they got a whole telepathic network in America. And this network works in unison from city to city. How I know? Because when I go from one city to the other, they're already there. The same people, the same type of people. Telepathic people, mind readers. They're everywhere. That's going on more than witchcraft, if you ask me. What's going on more than witchcraft is these telepaths, these mind readers. They're not one and the same. Let's look at it like you could build yourself up to be a telepath and a witchcraft person, but you don't got to necessarily be a witchcraft person to be a telepath, and you don't got to necessarily be a telepath to be a witch. See, this is how complex and sophisticated this spiritual world is, to where you distinguish between the witches and the telepaths. The telepaths are the mind readers. That's going to be the ones they use to surround you and to read your mind. And all they're waiting for in this game is one contradicting thought, usually of pedophilia. They're trying to trigger you, hoping to get a thought of pedophilia, or a thought of racism, or a thought of just extreme hate, unreasonable hate, something unreasonable. Let's just put it like that. Something contradictory, negative, or unreasonable. That's what they're looking for. If you don't know what it is, they're looking to take your credibility. Second objective is they're looking for you to commit suicide, with all the information that they have on you, they construct it to form to where hopefully how we lay out this information in the infrastructure of the community, that you will want to kill yourself. If you want to know one of the main objectives of the gang stalkers, it is for you to kill yourself, for you to commit suicide. What else? I mean, think about it. What else are they? What else is the reason? That's the reason. They're trying to get you to kill yourself. Why you think they going to the whole community talking about what you done in your past and talking about your life? Why you think they going to the people? Why you think they keep following you around, trying to keep pressure on you? What you think the pressure is all about? What you think the pressure is all about? The pressure is that if you go through this over time, hopefully you kill yourself. Hopefully. Hopefully you kill yourself. That's what they're hoping. Make sense of it any other way. That's what they're doing. They set up this whole circus hoping that you're the type of human being that will see all of this stuff and you would think, I don't want to live. That's what they want you to feel. That's what they want you to feel like. That's why they going through all of this and putting it around you. And when you come from the streets, you're going to think, maybe they trying to kill you. If maybe they trying to shoot you. No, that ain't what it is. They having fun playing with you, hoping that you kill yourself. That's what it is. That's part of their objective. Especially with high-ranking targets like me. That's why they'll use police sirens. We call it sound campaigns. They'll use all these things to make you feel like it's no way out. They want you to feel like it's no way out. They want you to feel like even if you leave New York, we're going to be in Charlotte. You leave Charlotte, we're going to be wherever you go. And ultimately, hopefully, you feel hopeless and you want to kill yourself. That's the whole objective. See, once you know, now you're gonna be on guard. Now you ain't gonna drift in your emotions. You ain't gonna drift in your mind because you know that's what they trying to do. They trying to make you suicidal. Now, if you ain't know, you'll kind of drift in your mind. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? You'll kind of drift in your mind where you just letting yourself drift a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Based on what you're going through. But when you know that what you're going through is intentionally for you to kill yourself, then you're gonna be on guard. You're gonna be more on guard against drifting in your mind and drifting in your emotions, trying to, giving up. You're gonna be more cautious about that. You're gonna be more aware of your overall temperament and demeanor and behavior and in your mind and your emotions. So you don't gotta meditate on it every day, but just come to terms with the fact that their objective is for you to kill yourself. That's their objective. Not them kill you, you kill yourself. That's been the objective. You make sense of it any other way. Make sense of this any other way. That's what it is. They trying to make you kill yourself. That's why they putting all these mind readers, everything around you, and see, that's part of it. You know what I'm saying? That's part of it. It works in a funny way, in a roundabout way, even though they just reading minds. That how they move it and what they do with the information and how they play against your mind, it all works where they want you to kill yourself. If you think a mind reader is innocent, a gang stalker that's high rank, a person that's being gang stalked that's high ranking gonna tell you a telepath and a mind reader is just as disgusting as a witch. Just as disgusting. They're just as disgusting as a witch to me. Now, to others on the outside, a mind reader seems cool. You know what I'm saying? Until you get to know these people. To use in America, where you see them use telepathy in an evil way. You see them use mind reading in an evil way, okay, to where you're trying to find a contradiction in this person, where you're trying to find a shred of information on this person to go take it to the culture, to go take it to the community, to go take it to the Americans, the government, and all these people. They're spies for the Americans. When I say the Americans, that means different vocations and levels of the community and society. The military, the government, the hood, the streets. Like, if you black, you know, and you on a level like me, you high ranking, they're relaying that. The telepaths, the mind readers, is giving information to the streets. Man, come on, man. That's it right there, buddy. That's the main thing they doing. They giving anything that cross your mind that's contradicted. They running that. As soon as they hear it, they running that. Just like ignorant black people do. They running that information to the community. They running that information to the streets. The ignorant black people. Not all black people are ignorant, but these people are. Okay? They're taking the information to the streets. Anything they feel crossing your mind. So whatever you've been struggling with, they taking all that to the community. They know, everybody know about all of that. Whatever is crossing your mind, here's the next level. In spiritual warfare, where it's not even you, it's demonic spirits, they taking all of that to the community. The community know all about that. If it's crossing your mind in a pattern of spiritual, psychological warfare, the same patterns, the same reoccurring thoughts, they taking all of that information to the streets, to the ghetto, to the military, to the police, to all the whole society, the infrastructure of the society, the social infrastructure, the human infrastructure of the society. They're taking it to all of them. Yeah. Anything they think you're struggling with, anything that's questionable, that's out there to the community and you don't even know. Unless you're a prophet. God gonna reveal it to you. They taking all of that to the community. See, but here's what they don't know. Most of what they think they're hearing from you is from the satanic kingdom. Because the satanic kingdom is going to see that they're trying to read your thoughts. And demons are going to say, well, oh, they're trying to read his thoughts. Well, I'm going to give them a whole bunch of lies about this person. I'm going to give them some crazy stuff. Oh, let's see what they're trying to trigger on. Pedophilia? Oh, I'm going to give him the worst thoughts. And they're going to think that's his mind. See, what they didn't realize as the telepathic community, we have a spiritual war against Satan and his kingdom that they don't have. They don't fight against Satan and his kingdom. We do, as God's people. And they fight against us more directly than they would fight against telepaths and mind readers and psychics and witches and warlocks. The satanic kingdom don't fight against them as directly as they fight against us. So in the case that Satan and his kingdom sees that you are being watched by the Americans, what you think Satan gonna do with his kingdom? Oh, I'm gonna send a whole bunch of lies. I'm gonna just throw dirty thoughts, crazy stuff, And the telepath's going to run to the community with the lies that I put in his mind or her mind. If you understand spiritual warfare and spirituality as you claim to, it's no way in the world you could think that Satan don't see what you're doing. Satan sees exactly what you're doing. So then the next step is, you definitely cannot be spiritual if you think Satan ain't gonna sit and he ain't gonna do nothing. He just gonna let you do what you're doing. Trying to find a contradiction in this person. He gonna help you. He gonna try to help you find a contradiction. Satan gonna say, oh, they looking for something in his mind. Oh, they crazy. They done set up a whole telepathic network of mind readers around this dude's head. So then, while they got that set up, I'm gonna send a whole bunch of crazy thoughts into that atmosphere. And you gonna think this dude is thinking this, but he's not. You're going to think this woman is thinking crazy thoughts, but she's not. They're under satanic spiritual warfare because of your telepathic position. The demons seen your position of trying to find a contradiction in me, right? So what you think they're going to do? Just sit there? No, they're going to give you the contradiction that you're looking for. We talk about Satan's kingdom, buddy. And anybody that knows spiritual warfare knows, an expert knows, they gonna say the same thing I'm saying. Satan is not gonna sit back and let a whole community form a telepathic network around a person. From the time they go to the grocery store, from the time they go to the cell phone place, to the time they lay down at night, to the time they wake up, and to the time they in their dwelling quarters. And it's a whole telepathic network around this person. You don't think, there's no way in the world you're going to tell me, if you're spiritual, that Satan is not going to come in and manipulate, make you feel this person is crazy. This person thinking crazy things about children. If you're looking for pedophilia, you're going to find out what you're looking for. Oh, they're looking for pedophilia. Okay. Because that's how the mind readers first came to me. They heard stuff on the streets. They heard stuff from my brother, and they thought it would be a cute idea to put telepaths around my mind to see if I have pedophile thoughts. This is how they approached me. I don't know what they approached you for, but the approach could be different. But for me, my brother went to the community of Charlotte, North Carolina, and told them all kind of stuff. He went to the Freemasons, he went to the witchcraft people, he went to these secret societies. And they decided to, with the information that my brother told them, they decided to form a telepathic network around my mind to see if they could find that in my mind I'm a pedophile. Crazy, right? Glory to Yahweh. Thank you, Jesus. Glory to Jesus. I didn't learn this overnight. See, if you're not aware of your own thoughts, no pun intended, you will be thinking like, nah, this dude probably paranoid. Like I came up with this overnight. I didn't come up with this overnight. This is intellectual gold. Gold, gold. This is intellectual diamonds for people that has been going through hell with this stuff, and the stuff you're going through with the satanic kingdom. You're being fought by gang stalkers, you're being fought with guerrilla warfare from the Americans, and you're being fought by the satanic kingdom. They thought you just fighting them. I ain't just fighting you, I'm fighting the satanic kingdom too, with his own agenda, everything else. But you just happen to help and aid his agenda by trying to destroy me. So he gonna come in and piggyback off of that. And in these environments, when I'm at the grocery store, when I'm in these quarters sleeping, when I'm laying around, when I'm in the shower, he attacks You notice the devil attacks you in the shower while you washing your body? That's the telepathic network with the satanic kingdom attacking your mind while you taking a shower, or you're defecating. While you're urinating or defecating, the devil is attacking your mind. These telepaths and wizards are attacking your mind. They have no mercy. They're attacking you while you defecating, trying to play around your head while you dropping defecation out your body, while you urinating, trying to make you think some dirty thoughts or crazy stuff. This is what, listen, if we don't be transparent about what's happening, then people ain't gonna be free. You ain't gonna have no strategies. I know what he's doing. I know what the satanic kingdom is doing, and I know what these telepaths and wizards are doing. They attack you when you're defecating. They attack you when you're in the shower, when you're eating, even eating certain foods. They'll try to trigger you. Like if it's kind of kiddie food, they're trying to trigger your mind on pedophilia thoughts because it's kind of kiddie food, or even the wrapping of the food with the food in. If it's any kind of animations, they're trying to trigger you like with a pedophile thought because it's cartoons on the food or on the bottles or on the jars. That's how the satanic kingdom has come in to try to trigger the mind in this psychological guerrilla warfare in America, where even the wrapping on food, on a food brand, where it might have a little cartoon, they're trying to trigger you on the cartoon. Either the satanic kingdom or the telepath network or the wizards, to try to incriminate you psychologically. This is how it's working. This is why I'm considered the best in this situation, because I know all the stuff they doing because I paid attention. And first and foremost, the Lord revealed it, and I began to pay attention. And I can see the abnormal stuff they do in society, all the stuff they doing at the stores, using little children. That's all to back to the mind readers. The mind reader's gonna be watching you while you interact with these little girls, and they waiting to see if you have any sexual thoughts towards these little girls in public. This is in public. That's why when you get ready to go, and you already had a thought to go get what you get, they got the little girl at the aisle in the grocery store to see with the telepaths if you have any thoughts about these little girls. Last time they did that to me was like a couple weeks ago, like you know, maybe 9 days ago actually. And I went to get some razors. I just went up to another grocery store to get some razors because they didn't have them in the other store. When I got there, there was a little girl and a man in the aisle. He looked like he wasn't even doing nothing. Like he was just standing there. That's what made it so weird. And the little girl wasn't even really close to him. She was just walking around aimlessly. It was weird. It didn't look normal. So you got to pay attention when it look like they standing there, but it looks staged. Look at how they're not really doing anything. They're just standing there. Pay attention to they're not even doing it. They're not looking for nothing. It's like they're just standing there. They're not looking for an item in the grocery store. They're just standing there. That's how you know that's part of the telepathic network. Using older women, older men to try to see if you are attracted to older men that's excessively old or excessively fat or disabled. They'll try to trigger you on handicapped people to see. They're trying to see if they can find any level of perversion in your mind towards things that's unreasonable to them. And while you're going about your day, they got your brain on a grid with the telepathic network, and they're watching how when you walk through the society, they're watching every person you interact with, and they're hoping to find a psychological contradiction. They're looking to find a psychological contradiction. That's what they're looking for. So let's settle it. The Americans are using telepaths as psychics, as mind readers, to go relay information back to them. So they're setting this all up against high-ranking people. If you're high-ranking, that's why they're doing it to you. If you're a high-ranking spiritual person and you're wondering why this is going on, it's because of your level of spirituality. It's been detected. It's been detected. And it's like a little kid that want to destroy something that's good. You ever met little bad kids that want to, something is good and they just want to tear it apart? They like little bad kids that want to just tear you apart. Something that is beautiful. You're like a spiritual swan. You're a spiritual swan. Swimming on the water. And they just want to throw rocks at you. Who would do that? Only children. A mature person is going to look at the swan and say, oh, that's a swan. Maybe pull out their phone, you know. And so they just want to destroy something that's beautiful. It's that too. They're jealous of your spirituality. They're definitely jealous of my spirituality, because most of these people that's mind readers and witches and warlocks, they never even met a real prophet in their life. They met people that have the titles, but not the goods. They see that I got the goods and the title, and they're jealous. I got to deal with that too. See, when you're dealing with the Telepath network and there's jealousy, now it's a competition. Now it's a war, not just because it's good and evil, it's because they're jealous of your level of spirituality. Because these type of people just think they're the most spiritual people in the world. But if they was really spiritually, if they had spiritual common sense, they would realize everybody's spiritual. How in the world are you going to be the most spiritual people? Or the only spiritual people? So it's just like when you come into the matrix of spirituality, you realize everybody's spiritual. It's just, do you decide to connect to the source, the sources of spirituality, which is God or Satan? But everybody's spiritual, because you're a spirit. Human beings are spirits. We are spirits in a body. We're all spiritual. We all have spiritual vibration. There's no person that's not walking around that don't have spiritual vibration, right? So we all have spiritual vibration. Okay? And you know, you got to realize that. So they just wind up playing themselves, and they ain't think we were spiritual. And then when they see somebody's more spiritual than them, they get jealous of it. So then the high-ranking Christian has to deal with jealousy from people that didn't realize Christians were spiritual. People that didn't realize Christians manifest spiritually. We manifest spirituality. So then that jealous perspective and attitude makes them set up a whole new game, a whole new lane against you, because we want to prove that we're more spiritual than you. That's what they want to prove. But us as Christians, we don't set out to prove that we're more spiritual than other people. That's not something we care about like that. We are spiritual. We are at the top of the food chain as far as spirituality goes, and now they realize that. But we don't set out to be, we don't have a fetish for spirituality, like I like to put it. These people have a fetish for spirituality. I don't have a fetish for spirituality. I'm a prophet that manifests. That's basically it. And I also have information. I'm just not just a spiritual person. Jesus was not just spiritual. He also had information. So when you're high ranking, you're going to have information with your rank. You're going to have a voice with your rank to articulate your rank. And most of these people, that's how you know they're on lower levels of spirituality, because when they communicate out their mouth, you can't hear a high rank of spirituality. All they can tell you is about vibration and these other little in-betweens about spirituality and stuff. But like people like us that are Christians, our spirituality helps humanity. It feeds humanity, nurtures humanity. We become centers, as in something that's centered. We become a center for humanity, and we articulate our spiritual rank with our voice, with our language. I'm gonna come back with part 3 on this. I'm gonna have to.